Hey kids, it's called The Mitten. I'm excited for snow. And this is a story adapted and illustrated by Jan Brett. Now, Jan Brett, she writes beautiful stories and she also makes the artwork in it. She illustrates it. And she also always shows the whole page of what is happening and maybe what is to come. So in this story, she has a little boy. It's looking outside the window. It looks like it just snowed, and he is up and ready to go. Maybe we need some snow. Once there was a boy named Nicky who wanted his new mittens made from wool as white as snow. There's a picture of maybe a grandma, and she looks like she's knitting. At first, his grandmother, Baba, did not want to knit white mittens. "If you drop one in the snow," she warned, "you'll never find it." But Nicky wanted white snow white mittens, and finally, Baba made them. After she finished, she said, "When you come home, first I will look to see if you are safe and sound. But then I will look to see if you have your snow white mittens." I bet you it took a long time to make. So she knitted them up. So off Nicky went, and it wasn't long until one of his mittens dropped off in the snow and was left behind. So there he is climbing the tree, and he dropped the mitten. But in Jan Brett's stories, there's always something that is and is to come. A mole, tired from tunneling through and along, discovered the mitten and burrowed itself inside. It was cozy and warm and just the right size, so he decided to stay. So Nicky is running along, and here is the mole, and he's going inside. But what's to come? If you look here, Maddie's running along, and who's hiding in there? A snowshoe rabbit came hopping by. He stopped for a moment to admire his winter coat. It was then that he saw the mitten, and he wriggled in, feet first. The mole didn't think there was room for both of them. But when he saw the big rabbit's kickers, he moved right on over. Look at that, shoving himself right inside. So Maddie's over here just playing along, and do you see another little guy? Wonder what that is. Next, the hedgehog came snuffling along. Having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat, he decided to move into the mitten to warm himself. The mole and the rabbit were bumped and jostled. But, not being ones to argue with someone covered with prickles, they made room. So here they are. Maddie's looking in a hole, and they're moving on over because he is covered in prickles. Look at how beautiful this artwork is. There's an owl coming. As soon as the hedgehog disappeared into the mitten, a big owl, attracted by the commotion, swooped down. When he decided to move in also, the mole, the rabbit, and the hedgehog grumbled. But when they saw the owl's glinty talons, they quickly let him in. So look at those sharp talons. They're like, oh my gosh, we got to get over. So there's Maddie, or there's Nicky. Confusing. And there's someone in the hollow of a tree. pages are sticky. Up through the snow appeared a badger. He eyed the mitten and began to climb in. The mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, and the owl were not pleased. There was no room left. But when they saw his diggers, his claws, they gave him the thumb. So here he is. He's a pretty big animal, badger, and they're going to give him the thumb. What's Maddie doing? Or what's Nikki doing? I keep thinking of another story. Nikki. It started snowing, but all the animals were snug in the mitten. A waft of warm steam rose in the air, and a fox trotted by, stopping to investigate. The fox poked his muzzle in, and the mole and the rabbit, the hedgehog, the owl, the badger saw his shiny teeth, and they gave the fox lots of room. Kind of finding it nice and cozy, aren't they? Oh, look what's coming. How can this mitten even hold all those animals? It must be made with lots of warmth, lots of love. A great bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten all plumped up. Not being one to be left out in the cold, he began to nose his way in. The animals were packed in as tightly as they could be, but what animal would argue with a bear? I wouldn't argue with a bear, so I would definitely move on over. The mitten swelled and stretched, and it was pulled, and it bulged to many of its times its size. But Baba has good knitting, and it held fast. Oh, after that big bear, I don't think what else could fit in there. Along came a meadow mouse, a little guy, no bigger than an acorn. He wriggled into one space left and made himself comfortable on top of the great bear's nose. Look at everyone is inside that mitten. Look at all the hedgehogs, everything. Everything's poking out. Look at the owl's ear. What's happening? So there's Maddie. There's Nikki. And he's just starting to realize he lost his mitten. Not a good thing. The bear, tickled by the mouse's whiskers, gave an enormous sneeze. Achoo! The force of the sneeze shot the mitten up into the sky and scattered the animals in all directions. Now Nikki went to go find all the animals. Went to go find his mitten. The animals. Well, maybe he'll see all the animals. There sits everyone. And on his way home, Nikki saw a white shape in the distance. It was the lost mitten silhouetted against the blue sky. Look at how it's flying, because it just took off, and all the animals, they went flying. As he ran to catch his snow-white mitten, he saw Baba's face in the window. First, she looked to see if he was safe and sound, and then she saw that he still had his new mittens. Well, But look at what happened to his mitten. So he's sitting by the fire staying nice and warm, and she's going, what in the world. Look at one mitten is the normal size, and the other one is very, very stretched. Boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed The Mitten. Maybe find some more books by Jan Brett. She is a great storyteller. You guys have a good day and hope for snow. Bye.